Greek mythology is awesome. I'm fascinated with gods like Zeus, Hades, and Poseidon, and not to mention all the amazing creatures. Medusa, the Arachne, centaurs, the list just keeps going. It's extremely fascinating. And even though I haven't really read up on all the lore and the gods and everything, I still find it very interesting. The closest I've gotten to Greek mythology is Disney's Hercules and Santa Monica's PS2 classic God of War. I finished the game about 2 weeks ago, and now that I think back on it, it's probably one of the best PS2 games I've ever played, even though I played it on the PS3 in 60 frames per second and 1080p. And if it is one of my favorites, I really don't know. I still have to play through God of War 2, 3, Ascension, and the PSP game. Yeah, there are a lot of God of War games, but right off the bat I remember God of War 1 as a pretty great game. And when a game is still as memorable after 2 weeks after finishing it, I'd say that's a very good thing. And the game is as good as it was rumored to be, and I never agree with the mainstream. And I don't mean to sound hipster by saying that. And I can right here and now tell you that God of War is fucking awesome. And if you get the game on PS3, well, the physical copy of the God of War collection, you get God of War 1 and 2, and you can play it on a modern system in 1080p with 60 frames per second. And it looks so fucking good. But what is it with God of War that makes it, in my opinion, the best games on the PS2? Well, not the best game, that goes to Ratchet & Clank 2 and Ratchet & Clank 3, but still. What is it with it that gets me so excited? God of War is centered around the most happy and most optimistic fella in the entire PS2 library. Kratos. He was the leader of the Spartan army, and he found himself at the brink of defeat in war. He thus called upon the God of War, Ares. Ares! And now, after 10 years of this, Kratos just wants to retire because he's tired of killing everything. And because Kratos is tired of taking all his Ritalin, he goes upon an epic quest to defeat the one and only God of War. And God. There's that word again. These gods don't have mercy for Kratos at all. This game is difficult as balls on normal difficulty. And yes, I did play through the game of easy because I liked the story to be like, you know, a breeze and not a struggle. I did play the game on normal difficulty first, but then I died 5 times in a row at Poseidon's challenge. Those fucking dogs. God! The opening level in God of War is the pinnacle of good level design. It teaches you all the basics that you need to know, as well as giving you a pretty good idea of what to expect from the rest of the game. And it is in fact my favorite level in the entire game. It's just that good. If you're a game developer, you better make sure the opening level is good and at least memorable, because it might even be the most defining factor as to whether or not a player will keep on playing your game, you know? There's a reason I refunded Hatred. Not because the opening level is complete shit, but because the rest of the levels are just as shit as the opening level. God of War's opening level starts off on this boat, and you're fighting these skeleton things in armor. And it's here you get a very good idea of what the game is about. It's about beating shit up. Square for light attack and triangle for heavy attack. Very basic. And once you're up against this monstrosity, you'll learn that light and heavy attacks can be used to create combos. And we also get a pretty good idea of how much of a badass Kratos is when he penetrates this shit down on a fucking mask. And if you're like me, you just probably use the square triangle combo because that is efficient as hell. And you will need these combos a lot, especially at places like Poseidon's challenge. And trust me when I say that this game is not without its frustrating moments. This game sometimes led me to pure rage. But as soon as Zeus granted me to change my difficulty, it wasn't really hard at all. And I could truly see how good God of War was in terms of both story and gameplay. God of War left its staple in the genre 10 years ago, and it still holds up today in terms of both story and gameplay. The cutscenes in this game is something you'd find in an early PS3 game. This game is pure eye candy in HD. Seriously, just play this game on PS3, just please do it. Also, there's a lot of fucking sand everywhere. Sand, sand, and sand. The sound design is also fucking superb, with voice acting that brings life to the characters perfectly, especially Kratos. You can always tell how angry he is. Have some Ritalin, Kratos. You've earned it. And Kratos' blades. They are the ultimate blades of all the blades in all of Greece. You also get a sword at some point, but I never used it. I spent nearly all of my red ores upgrading my magic and blades. That was it. And speaking of orbs, they are your currency for upgrades. Red represents experience, green represents health, and blue orbs represent your magic. And you'll want to harvest as many of these as possible. Also keep an eye out for phoenix feathers and gorgon eyes because they can upgrade your health meter and magic meter. Collect 6 of either and your meter is upgraded. That's it. Ares! I don't think there is anything I can properly fault with this game. And hey, I'm not the most analytic fellow around, you know? I just play games, and I enjoy them, and I have fun. And all in all, that's all that matters. Hello there, you made it to the end card. And since you made it here, why not take your time to click this big sexy button? I drew it myself. And then you can click this thing to watch my previous video, or is my previous video, because I'm most happy with that. If you wish to get in contact with me, you can follow me on Twitter. That is the easiest way to contact me, ask me questions and whatever. And also you could leave a like and maybe a comment and tell me why you didn't like this shitty video. Bye.
Jonas, you suck at games.